So, willkommen zu Part 16 von, ich muss es inzwischen leider sagen, The Stanley Parable 2. Und nein, Christoph, ich werde kein neues Thumbnail machen und ich werde das Projekt nicht umbenennen. Nein. Nein, die Mühe werde ich mir nicht geben. Das habe ich bei Unity gemacht, nur Ende für das DLC, aber nein. Gut. Schön, dass wir es geklärt haben. Ich wollte euch hier auch nochmal das Main-Menü zeigen, weil selbst das jetzt schon komplett geändert ist. Aber es Koparius, wir haben es für diesen Part aufnehmen zu dürfen. Ja, im letzten Part haben wir dann offiziell mit The Stanley Parable 2 begonnen und hatten zwischen den Aufnahmen hatte Stanley wilden Verkehr mit einem Eimer, den er sehr liebt. Und wir machen jetzt weiter und müssen uns jetzt wieder entscheiden, welche Route wir entlang gehen möchten. Und zwar gibt es jetzt die Entscheidung, entweder wir machen wieder diesen Elevator-Stick oder wir gehen die Story des Erzählers weiter. Ich weiß, die Münze liebt den Erzähler, die haben auch während der Aufnahme während der Aufnahmepause rumgemacht, ganz wild. Will ich euch nicht beschreiben. Deswegen Kopf, wir gehen normal runter, Zahl, wir machen hin und her. Und Zahl! Was ist denn hier los? Die Münze hat den Narrator betrogen. Unglaublich. Ich fass es nicht.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Oh Mann, oh Mann, oh Mann. Wir gehen wieder hoch.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
Oh, the bucket said nothing. Was ist denn hier los? So.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Well, he said, the number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Na, dann was ist jetzt? Ich bin jetzt nicht so geil auf die Nummer 3, sorry. Lass uns wieder runtergehen.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
Ja, was soll das? Hallo? Gibt's hier direkt schon Divorce oder was? Hoch damit.
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
Oh. Kriegen wir schon direkt das Bad Ending hier. Divorce Ending oder was?
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
Wow, das ist echt traurig, muss ich schon sagen. Das ist echt traurig.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
Mal schauen, ich weiß ja nicht. Aber diesmal sogar gar kein Kommentar, okay?
Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work.
Auf jeden Fall. Auf jeden Fall.
For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
Okay. The Stanley Parable Standard live on stage. Da bin ich ja mal gespannt. Aber hier kann man nicht irgendwie rüber, oder? Hier? What's for sentient machine? Mal schauen, diesmal dürfte es ja keine Referenzen. Ja, diesmal free.
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
Mal schauen, diesmal sind all die Nachrichten zu 3 geworden. Free again, the Stanley Parable free, the storyteller, ne? The new book. Congratulations, Stanley. Remember where you came from, your co-workers. Free. That is the magic number. Yes, it is. A shockingly three-dimensional character. Natürlich. 427. Yeah, the dude who came up with pizza. Pizza pasta. Pappapapapato. Entschuldigung, ich muss mal kurz was wegklicken. So, dann. Wir schauen, haben wir alles gesehen. Okay, das liegt mir. Gut, dann gehen wir mal weiter. Wann geht's weiter? Was hier? Aha, hier, up again, down again hier. Das war noch da. Gut, jetzt aus irgendeinem Grund wir Pressekonferenz mit dem Paket.
There was no one here.
Oh.
Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously.
Wow.
There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Okay, RIP. Wow. Trauriges Ende. Aber, okay, interessant. Das heißt, okay, der Eimer reagiert oder was? Das heißt, mit dem Bucket, mit dem Eimer haben wir diesmal ein komplett anderes Ende gehabt. Auch zu jeder Zeit eine komplett andere Erzählung. Das heißt, wenn wir den Bucket...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Was ist das hier? Figurine Finders Committee. Meeting today in the meeting room. Aha. Aha. Wenn wir quasi nicht den Bucket mitnehmen, dann ist alles gleich. Aber wenn wir den Bucket mitnehmen, dann erzählt er die ganze Zeit
Stanley
was
lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Interessant.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Dann gehe ich mal ins Insanity Ending. Das ist, glaube ich, das schnellste Ending, was man so erreichen kann. Und das sollte dann auch komplett anders sein, oder? Also da, wo wir runtergehen und die ganze Zeit im Kreis laufen und so und verrückt werden. Das funktioniert auch. Oh. Trust the completionist instinct. Yo, what the fuck, Alter? Was ist hier auf einmal los? How can we find them? Warehouse access plan. Produce one plank to allow ease of access past fence. Was? Construct bridge to allow collection of shiny float. Retrieve Chris's remains from warehouse floor. Construct new structurally sound bridge. We need more planks. Huh? Warehouse access plan? Hier, ja. Trust the completionist instinct. Wird gar nicht mit Blut geschrieben. There will be a reward for finding them all. Aha. Ja, der Erzähler hat gesagt, es gibt... Moment mal. Places to search. Mission status. Wäre auf jeden Fall... Nearby a fireplace. Inside of a sequel exhibit. And a private but smelly place for an important person. Das ist eine Klo. Wo hatten wir das andere gefunden? Das eine in der Toilette. Und wo haben wir die andere Figur nochmal gefunden? Fireplace. Wo haben wir die eine Figur gefunden? Hab schon komplett vergessen. Das war voll ein Part. Wie kann ich das vergessen? Sorry, ich bin dumm, ey. Muss mal... Kann nicht sein. Ich muss nur nachschauen. Video? Ich habe hier doch Part 15. Und hier. Da war der Bucket. Interessant, dass der Meetingraum sich so geändert hat. Das war... Aber warum Fireplace? Jetzt check ich's. Fireplace, weil da, wo man gefeuert wird, im Office vom Boss. Das wäre ja auf jeden Fall jetzt Screenshot, dass es hier sogar auch einen Fortschrittsstatus gibt. A large room, lots of boxes. A large room, lots of boxes. Warehouse? Gibt es anscheinend eine Warehouse? Dann Stairs, something to do with stairs. Wo gibt's Treppen im Spiel? Eigentlich direkt da beim Insane Ending ist eine Treppe. Gibt es sonst irgendwo noch eine Treppe im Spiel? Stimmt, gar nicht so viele. Wir haben nie wirklich Treppen. Wir haben meistens immer Plattformen, die hochfahren oder sonst was. Mir fallen sonst ehrlich gesagt im gesamten Spiel keine Treppen ein, bis auf die. Somewhere both red and blue. Red and blue. Ah, vielleicht da, wo die rote und die blaue Tür ist, oder? Gotta collect them all, Stanley Ball. LOL looks like 427, hahaha. 5 there be, just take 3 from me, okay? Also, okay, sehr interessant. Is this some kind of game? There must be a point to this. There will be a reward for finding them all. Lies. Who are you? 666 lol. There will be cleaning of this wall required. Stop kidding yourselves. I want them so much. I want to go home. Alter, what the fuck, ey, was ist das für ein Raum hier? Beware the false prophet. Collecting is sexy. Approximately here. Possible clue, eine Rutsche. Das will ich auch mal screenshotten. Was heißt das? Warehouse Access Plan. Produce one plank. Irgendwas im Warehouse. Und das ist ja auch... A large room, lots of boxes. Irgendwas im Warehouse? Why wouldn't they just tell us something will happen? This investigation, this room, they feel pointless, to be honest. Weird spinning figurines. Ideas. God. What do they want? Data. Stock options. Money. Should we make them employees? Maybe? Interns, yes. Why do they kind of look like 427? Artists, rendering, employee 00 hunt. Why floating? Magic, quarterly success, magnets, training exercise by management, dreams. How many are there? 5, 6, 7? Can we sell them? Obviously, more money if sold together. Do we need contracts for them? And the non-disclosure agreement, NDA on potential liability. Employee 421 building a bridge. Saw one in cargo room. Bonus stuff. What we know, what we forgot, what we don't know yet. Source of levitation. Ja, diese Bilder davon. Difficult findings. Maybe we are the collectibles. Shut the frick up. To whom it may concern, fuck you, Nick. To whom it may concern, I managed to pick up sounds unusual to our regular office ambiances or local audio sources using an array of cardioid microphones. Cardioid microphones, also known as directional mic, a microphone which picks up sounds from a particular area. Analysis of the recordings allowed me to triangulate the source of the strange noise. Data shows that, in all likelihood, it's coming from a dark areas behind a very warm place. I also picked up what looks to be reverberance of a porcelain surface. Anyone have any leads on this? Wouldn't you Wouldn't you like to know? Agenda. How can you tell you've spotted one? What makes them float in the air? Who took these pictures of them? Das ist eine gute Frage. Der ist dann auf dem Klo in der Dunkelheit, weiß ich nicht. Fig leaves are hard to find. Follow clues provided by employee 416. We can do it. Red room? Thank you. Good luck. Was für ein geiler Raum, Alter. Ohne Spaß. How can we find them? Bottom text. Wow. What we know. Small floating objects have appeared across the office. We have to synergize our resources to ensure their retrieval. There are many questions. There was no memo for management. Huh. Nein, das kennen wir schon. To do. See clues, my clue JPEG, okay? Where are they? Please do not leave the office before reporting back to any new findings. Teamwork and communication are of great importance during this unprecedented time of investigation. Thank you. Help, I'm a post-it. Ja, die Leute sind jetzt zum Beware the False Prophet. Die Leute sind zumindest überzeugt. Hier, ne, hier ist irgendwas im Busch. Bin ich ja mal gespannt, ey. What the fuck? Können wir nochmal was
Stanley,
machen?
we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
Schade. Gut, denke ich mir.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Gut, wie gesagt, wir sind hochgelaufen, da gab es nicht. Ich gehe jetzt mal hier runter. Was ist das für ein Sound? Hey!
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley?
Figlies.
What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
What the figly is this? So, mal schauen, wie dieses End jetzt sein
But
wird.
Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
She backflipped? What the fuck? And she backflipped all the way to work. Und dass er das einfach so mit so einer trockenen Art sagen kann. Ach, fantastisch, fantastisch. Okay, heißt das jetzt, ich werde das mal nachschauen, aber heißt das jetzt, dass wir einfach jedes Ende nochmal mit dem Bucket einfach machen können? Ich muss das jetzt mal nachschauen. Also, wie endet jetzt das Stanley Parable 2? Ist es jetzt Stanley Parable 2 oder machen wir das jetzt für immer? Oder ich muss mich mal, ich bin gerade ein bisschen, ja. Backflipped all the way. Gut, das reicht jetzt. Wir haben auch 27 Minuten. Ich sag Dankeschön fürs Zuschauen. Wir sehen uns dann zum nächsten Part, wo wir weiter wilden, geilen Gesprächstext folgen mit dem Bucket. Woran habt ihr gerade gedacht? Bis dann und ciao.